Hey guys, welcome to another edition of Saints Game Talk. I'm T Rose. Joining me, my co-host G Man, Rob Sam. We got a lot to unpack on this episode, fellas. Everybody knows the big news. We've hired Dennis Allen as our newest Saints coach. So starting with you, G Man, what do you like about that choice? And then you tell me some things that we might have to look out for.
Actually, love to hire. I kind of figured that's what's going to happen. He's been with the organization for a good long time. Left and came back, so he's familiar with everybody in the building, which is very important. And I think he's going to put his finger on in I guess he's going to try to. I guess what I'm trying to say is he's going to trying to put his own, footprint, handprint on the team,
Yep.
and kind of ease on from trying to make us forget Peyton.
And alluding to that, we're going to talk a little bit later. I got another subject that's talking about what kind of team we're going to be. Rob, Sam, what do you think? And by the way, both of you guys, when we talked about this on the last podcast, you both said Dennis Allen was probably going to get hired. So, Rob, Sam, what are your thoughts on the new hire as our new head coach?
Yeah, I think it was the right thing to do, given the circumstances. Like we talked about last week, we're it's not a traditional coach hire where things have gone really bad and we just want to change everything. Things have been going fairly decent here, and we kind of would like to continue it. We especially would like some long-term things that have gone well there, like the culture and the sorts of things we look for in players and things like that. So keeping the train on the track, heading in that direction is a good thing. So, and Dennis Allen's the best dude to do that in this situation. I actually thought there might have been some better coaches out there, but for this situation at this time, I think, excuse me, Dennis Allen was right high.
And when you say some better coaches, what names would you throw out there?
Oh, in particular, Flores.
Uh-huh.
And I liked Raheem Morris.
Okay.
As well. Just my opinion. I really respect those two guys as coaches, and I believe they are better than Dennis Allen. But Dennis Allen is in this situation right now, and he's the best dude for this situation.
Gotcha. Now,
so it's going to work.
Absolutely. Now,
agreed.
We've had some changes on the staff already, and I was a bit surprised at the amount of turnover. I think it's a good thing. So the most surprising change to me in the staff was them letting go C.J. Johnson. And I mean, last year, maybe even 2 years, with Michael Thomas out, the production of the wide receivers, we could probably say have been down just from the dropped passes and lost opportunities by guys not making tough catches. So. What do you read into that, G-Man?
Yeah, I was kind of surprised at CJ being, I guess, released.
For those who don't know, CJ was our wide receivers coach.
Yeah, Curtis Johnson, wide receivers coach. But I think, like I said, I think he's going to try to put his own identity on the team because I see where Brendan Nugent, O-line coach, was released, and he left. Jim Chaney, our offensive analyst, was released.
Darryl Empel, long-time conditioning coach, who'd been there since the beginning.
Yeah, Darryl Rempel, he's gone, and Carmichael is going to have a different role. He didn't say what it's going to be yet, so I think he's going to try to put his own stamp on the offense.
You got any idea what role Carmichael might have going into this thing?
I think it's probably going to be QB coach.
Yeah.
Yeah. And well, things I've heard, is simply that it not the personality you would generally associate with football leadership. position. Not saying anything negative.
No,
about
no.
the
Some guys
Just
they
different people.
they don't
Right.
want to be out. They don't want to be out front.
Right.
And
Right.
it seemed between the quarterback coach, the offensive coordinator, the passing game coordinator, Sean and Drew, it seemed to be a committee thing anyway. You know, of you know how to attack
Right.
certain teams and stuff. So
That's true. Now, you know, concerning CJ, it was a little surprising. On the other hand, I kind of look at the way we not done very well in developing receivers behind Mike Thomas. Now, if you're gonna ding him for not developing receivers behind Mike Thomas, you gotta also credit him for developing Mike Thomas, right?
right.
Yeah.
So
And Marcus Colston and Lance
yes,
Moore
yes,
and Devery Henderson.
absolutely,
You know.
absolutely. So
Yeah, 'cause he did a good job with the guy previous, Derrick Henderson and all those guys.
yep,
So,
it definitely goes both ways. I just wonder
yeah.
about this last little stretch.
What
You know what I'm saying?
what clues from the new hires have you guys gotten as to what kind of team that Dennis Allen would like to have? I got an idea because I'm just thinking of him being a defensive coach, and some of the remember in Peyton's early years, even Parcells would accuse him of trying to be too cute sometimes,
Yeah.
with his play calling. So what impact do you think? What type of team you think Dennis Allen is trying to build from the minimal information you have from the 3 or 4 coaches that they've picked up or let go?
Well, I'm gonna go back to because Doug Marrone is coming back in the building. He was the offensive coordinator in 2006, and I know a lot of people are not going to think that, but Sean Payton was a run first coach, and he did have a few gimmicks, but he was a run first coach because the Saints ran the ball quite a bit.
In that 2006 year,
people going to look at Breeze and say, "Well, no, I don't think so." But yeah, they were. Because they led the league in the year they won the Super Bowl. I think they were either first or second in rushing, and I think they're going to go back to that.
Mm-hmm.
But it's going to depend on who's in the building, who the quarterback is. So, is he going to build the offense around the quarterback skills, or the quarterback is going to have to come into the system?
Mm-hmm.
That's what we don't know.
Rob Sam, what do you think about that?
Yeah, I kind of think, as far as who it is, I personally think he went more with familiarity, someone he can work with effectively. That might mean control. Okay, I think that might have been a bigger concern than exactly what offense, because I think they're going to have to suit the offense to the talent that we have, and we don't really know what that talent's going to be at crucial positions. Quarterback, number one wide receiver could change. We hope not. Tight end. What are we going to have there? We're going to have a guy who can get down the field. So yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking. I think he went more with we're going to have to do something different. So who can I work with this? And that's kind of what I'm seeing.
Well, it's kind. We've had a hint probably the last 3 years when the defense has been dominant as a result of personnel, and what we saw was, and there were a lot of factors going into this, but we saw the Saints running more. Probably they ran more the last 3 years than they had since those 2006, 2007 years when wasn't McAllister with us in 2006?
Yes.
Yeah, Deuce. Yeah.
Yeah. And played before he got hurt or something. Or was
he got hurt. Seems like midway through the season.
Yeah, and him and Reggie and Thomas were, and then they started when Deuce got hurt. That's when they started bringing in Bell and some of these other guys.
Right.
But you again, man, as we saw in the playoffs, great defenses and great offensive and defensive line play is what I think dictates the pace in the playoffs, because it's just about who can tackle, who can stop people from, every third down can change the flow of a game, and we saw, what, like 85-90% of the playoff games went down to the last possession.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was incredible.
It was damn near every game.
This was
that was some good football.
real good postseason this year
Gotcha.
for a change.
In spite of my team not being involved.
Exactly.
It was still enjoyable. Yeah.
I think that was the thing, that because a lot of times you see a team, just like we watch the Rams play the Patriots in that Super Bowl, and what they scored 3 points, and we were like, man, we would have definitely been a better matchup that season.
Yeah.
So it was great to see good games. So what do you guys make of what's going on with this Kamara situation for the Pro Bowl in Vegas? That what happened sounds totally out of his character, and I'll just recap for people who don't know what happened. It might have been Saturday night, Friday or Saturday, actually morning.
Night before the game.
Yeah. So it might have been
night,
actually Sunday morning. It was after midnight. Kamara and some of his friends got into an altercation with a guy. The guy ended up with a busted face, fractured eyeball socket, and again, there's three sides to every story: his side, my side, and what really happened. And so I'm getting my stuff, second and third hand. But what do you guys, from what you've been able to read and research, what does this thing look like to you guys? Because that's going to impact us at the beginning of the season next year.
Well, hopefully it won't. And the reason why I'm going to say that is because I saw an article today where Goodell knew what happened. It was already reported to the NFL, and he still let Kamara play the game. So that just kind of ate at me, because it just goes to show you it's all about the show, and nothing else really matters. It's all about the money. The game must go on. The big show must go on. And
he was one of the premier names.
Yes, exactly. And that's I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't know a whole lot about it other than it was an elevator incident and they got into a ruckus or whatever. But just the fact that I saw that, Goodell knew this and still let this man play, because to me he shouldn't have played, to be honest with you.
Right.
And that's my opinion. That's my opinion on it. I don't think he should have played. Sometimes it can't be just about the league, And to me, and going back saying that, when it's time for the Saints to play, he should not be suspended because you didn't suspend him from that game. And let the league go take its course, and his attorney say they investigating it and everything. So we'll see what's happening when most stuff come out. But that's my opinion.
Sam, what do you make of what happened?
It sounds bad. It sounds bad, and allegedly there's video, and so it's a bad situation. It's definitely out of character from what we know. Kamara, I mean, level-headed dude, mature, and
guys,
a leader.
Guys are
but it,
I didn't mean to cut you off.
One bad moment.
Guys are constantly chirping at him on the field, and he seems to just brush it off. You see it all the time. Matter of fact, a lot of times he's laughing and making jokes with these guys, talking smack with him. So
it's completely out of character for him.
Absolutely.
If the stories we've heard are to be believed.
Gotcha. And so, and look,
it's out of character.
The things with these guys, they usually have very good council, and so
Mm-hmm.
it's they get more of a punishment from losing money from the league than they do with anything else when it usually comes to these things. And you know, I don't know what happened, but a lot of and I've witnessed this with people working in celebrities in the business I work in, and I've been out in public and several times just seen people intoxicated or just being buttholes
Mm-hmm.
and say things that are totally disrespectful to someone they don't even know, and you know, for whatever reason. So that's yeah. I'm curious to what really happened to drive Mister Kamara to put his foot up somebody's butt in Vegas. So
Yeah,
so so guys, I want to
I
Yeah.
feel you on that.
Provocation, right?
I want to move on to a subject. We're gonna move on to a little every week or so, every podcast rather. We're gonna do a rating. We're gonna at some point we're gonna do an all time Saints team, and then we're gonna do an all Metairie team. And all Metairie team is guys who during training camp get us excited, but they never performed on the field to the level. We could probably do like two of those teams, defense and offense. Honorable mention, but top three quarterbacks in the history of the franchise. Number one should be obvious to everybody, but what you got, Pike?
Okay. Like you said, number one should be obvious. I'm going with Billy Kim. No, I'm just kidding.
I was about to go
Bill,
upside your head. Everybody know that Hoggett, man. Before the season, we want Hoggett.
I got you. No,
I tell you, give me
I mean, it's obvious. Drew Brees.
and why.
Ain't
Obvious,
no
yeah,
doubt.
yeah.
Ain't no doubt that he's the number one. I mean,
The GOAT.
the thing about Drew Brees with me is, for his size, is the accuracy. The 67.7
Career.
over his career in the 5 seasons with 5,000 yards passing. But to me, this the biggest one. This the biggest one for me. I don't know about you guys, but he threw 54 passes in 54 straight games. He broke United's record, which was 47. That's one record, to be honest with you. Of all the records I know that's NFL, rushing and everything else, that's one I never thought was being broken.
Hmm.
Do you know how hard it is to throw a touchdown pass in 54 straight games?
Right.
That's quite a feat. That's quite a feat. And
Yeah,
he's number one.
he was the first quarterback for 80,000 yards in history. Even though I think Brady has broken that.
And I gotta
My
believe that Drew Brees was aware of that Johnny Unitas record. You know,
Oh yeah.
early in
Oh
his
yeah,
career.
it's to me that's one of the holy grail records for quarterbacks.
Right.
Mhm.
Right. All right. So
It's got to be.
Yeah, I gotta agree with Breeze being number one, and the other stat you mentioned to me is really really incredible. The number of 5,000 yard seasons. You know, to have how many is that?
5?
5, 4,
That's 5.
5. Nobody
5.
else has. Nobody else has more than one, and there are only like 10 or 11 of
No,
them in the
there's
history
combined.
of the NFL.
Yeah, combined there's
And
about
he
9.
has okay, and he has 5.
Wow.
That to me says a lot. And there weren't empty yards. There's a lot of wins associated with those. And
Absolutely.
there's another season where he came within 15 yards of 5,000 yards.
Really?
If you
Yeah.
remember, I believe it
Yeah.
was 2008.
Mm-hmm.
He finished 15 yards short
Wow.
of 5,000 yards. So the dude is pretty amazing. He was there's no doubt first
Absolutely.
ballot Hall of Famer.
Who,
Of course,
Pipe, who's your number 2 all-time Saints quarterback?
My number 2, I went back and forth with this one when we first discussed it. I'm gonna have to go with Bobby Hebert.
Mm-hmm. And why?
Because he was the first. He led the first team that actually had a substantial winning record,
Mm-hmm.
and Also, the first playoff appearance. He went to the Pro Bowl, I think 2 years, and he's fourth in all-time franchise yards and touchdowns.
Hmm.
And the thing about Bobby Hebert was, I think he would have been, his record would have been a whole lot better with the Saints if him and Jim Finch wouldn't have had that money
Right.
thing back and forward, and he went to the hated Dirty Bird.
Right in the prime, right when he was really just starting to figure it out, you know.
Exactly.
Who's your number three? I'm sorry, would you say Rob Sam?
No, you go ahead.
And who's your number three? Like
My number three, I'm gonna go with Aaron Brooks.
mm-hmm.
He came in when Jeff Blake got hurt, and they got him from Green Bay. He came in, he threw almost 20,000 yards passing, which is third in history, and he has 120 touchdowns, which is second to Breeze.
And I was surprised at that number. I didn't realize he'd thrown that many touchdowns.
Yeah, he I liked Aaron Brooks. I mean, he wasn't likable, but he had a strong arm. And as far as Saints history, now there's a lot of other quarterbacks. A lot of people say, "Oh, where Archie Manning at?" Well, to me, no, this is my top three.
Cool.
You know,
So,
and actually, Archie would fall in my top five, not my top three.
who would be number four?
Four would be Billy Kilmer.
Okay. Just for
And
this.
Archie would be my last, my
Okay.
fifth.
And why Billy Kilmer at number four?
Because I'm looking at Billy playing with the Saints. I think that he left before he should have left the Saints.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe he went to the Redskins.
Yep.
And you see the kind of seasons he had with them.
He ended up going to the Super Bowl. Am I correct?
Yes, he did. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Rob Sam, who's your top three all-time Saints QBs?
It's going to be the same top three there. Talked a little bit about Breeze and the number of 5,000-yard seasons, and another one close, and just overall productivity and playoff appearance after playoff appearance, a Super Bowl, always really coming through like you would expect QB1 to do. You know, elite QB1. Not just for this franchise, but one of the elite QBs ever to play in the league.
And I'm gonna jump to your second pick. Were you a Hebert hater at one point?
I was. I'm not so much a Hebert hater. I was pro Dave Wilson. Okay, and I was like, oh man, you know, Dave Wilson came from Cal. He was, you know, big tall dude, you know, prototype quarterback, look like quarterback, sound like quarterback, and everything. And Bobby's old country ass just came in there and tore him up. Bobby was tough as nails, man.
Yeah, he was.
And you were not gonna break Bobby. And I didn't realize a quarterback could be that tough.
He had that weird delivery, like he was throwing darts. Remember that?
He did. Yeah. Yes, he sure did, man.
You know who Bobby reminded me of?
And he stood in there and delivered those balls. He didn't care who was going to hit him.
And not his numbers, not his style, but just the type of guy. It reminds me of Bart Favre, just a tough old country born, but you know, just you know, got all kind of scars from when he was a kid, running around, getting his head busted on nails, and you know all that.
Exactly. He didn't care. He just kept.
Playing. Just
and you know, I like I said, I didn't realize a QB could be that tough, and it showed me a lot, and was my favorite quarterback up until Breeze, and I'm gonna go with you on Aaron Brooks as well. We've never had a quarterback burst onto the scene in a more dramatic way than the way Aaron Brooks did.
Right.
When he came in, and I remember that a specific game. I think it may have been the second or third week he played We're playing in San Francisco,
Mhm.
and this is when we were in the division together. And Aaron, it was a close game, and Aaron takes a snap and he tries his first read, doesn't get it. He has to scramble around, scrambles around, finally throws a touchdown. And Hokie guys out there, Aaron's out there running around like a sprayed roach, and he finds his man, delivers his ball, touchdown. And it was, that was when I thought, man, we got something here. And then we went to the playoffs and won our first playoff game ever with Aaron Brooks, and he had a hell of a game as well. The biggest game of the season of his career, first one, and he comes through big time.
Look, I got a trivia question. Who was his go-to receiver that year?
Willie Jackson.
Yes, he was. Willie was a stud.
Yeah,
I remember that.
Willie was three touchdowns in that playoff game.
Yeah, he was. But that last stretch of the season when Aaron took over, he just came out of nowhere and just started making plays every week. My top three mirror you guys. Brees obviously. I think the thing that we're now knowing with one season removed from Brees being retired and then last couple of years having injuries, we see how much, at least I can't speak for you guys, but I can speak to how much I took for granted his accuracy. I think that was the biggest thing that Brees impressed me with, to complete 69, 70% in about 3 or 4 years of your passes, in the NFL. That's amazing.
Career 67, man.
Yeah, that's
impressive.
Hebert, we talked about it. I just love how tough he was. Same thing with Brooks, man. When things started going downhill for Brooks, I was pulling for him. As a matter of fact, me and you, Sam, we talk about that often.
Absolutely.
And then it got to a point where some of the behavior he was exhibiting on the sidelines was, it was inexcusable. You couldn't. It was indefensible. You couldn't defend him. He just didn't have that leadership, that alpha leadership. He looked like he wanted to be one of the guys more than the guy. And,
but at the time, I guess I should have felt that way. I never thought the Saints would have had a black quarterback.
Right. Yeah, I think they had no choice.
Mean, when they brought Jeff Blake in, and unfortunately he got hurt because I like Jeff Blake.
I did too. I was at the game when he broke his foot.
Yeah, I was at that game, and
I was
playing the Raiders.
To me that was really disappointing because I really thought he was going to be a good quarterback.
I wish I had a phone that could text you guys because I was on the sideline working for NFL Films, my first time working for them. We were playing the Raiders, and I was standing on the side, close to probably on about the 20-yard line, part of my job. And one of the Saints executives, one of the guys that had a suit on with the credentials around his neck, and he came to one of the, I don't know if it was someone, it was the Saints staff. I don't know if they were training staff or whatever. They didn't have a suit on. They just had on the regular stuff the coaches had on, but it wasn't a recognizable coach. So I think it was one of the trainers. And he said, he came up to him, he said, out for the season. And then the other guy took that information and ran it over to Hazlitt. And so I remember being on the field. And I really liked Blake, man, because he had a good year at Cincinnati that year before. And he kind of reminded me of Taysom and other guys. I mean, not Taysom, Winston. Like his first couple of games, they weren't burning the barn down, but they're very efficient. And we were winning. We looked like we had a shot, and he was growing into the position. So yeah, that's my three. I think we all. It's funny because in a franchise like the Saints where you haven't had a lot of good play, because I think initially when I pitched this idea to you guys, I said let's do our top 10 Saints QBs, and you both laughed at me. Like top 10.
Yeah, I know. Yeah,
I go 6.
Stop it.
Right. So
go
then,
You're a little more generous than me. I'm a little bit more critical of some earlier QBs than many. But
so then
you know what? I go ahead. I'm not.
No, go ahead. Go ahead. What you about to say?
Nothing. It's okay. I was just gonna.
No,
a comment that was gonna get me hate mail. So.
I'm gonna take you. I'm gonna take you back to all the Billy Joes and then get back.
Look, it'd have been a reach to get a top 5, bro. That's the futility that we've been in the famous.
Not thinking about it. Yeah, you're probably right. I think I'm fine being a little generous by going 6. But I was gonna keep one of them Billy Joes in there.
See, that's when I was gonna hang up. You go Billy Joe anything in quarterback, I'm out.
All right. So guys, I want to take a quick moment to do our Saints OG. Our Saints OG this episode is former offensive guard Jake Kupp, grandfather of Cooper Kupp, Los Angeles Ram MVP Super Bowl winning wide receiver. Kupp was selected by the Dallas Cowboys in the 9th round of the 1964 draft as a tight end. He was converted to an offensive guard, where he made the NFL All-Rookie team after starting 10 games at guard. Next year, he started all 14 games at left guard. He was traded to the Washington Redskins at the end of the 65 season. Kupp became one of the original members of the New Orleans Saints after being selected in the 67 expansion draft. He played 5 games as a starter at left guard before being released. In November of 67, Atlanta Falcons claimed him off waivers, and he would appear in 6 games at left guard for the Falcons. In 1968, Kupp returned to the Saints, and he became a Pro Bowl offensive guard the following season in 1969, where he was also voted team captain. He originally retired at the end of the 73 season, but changed his mind and reported to camp the following year. Although he never experienced a winning season with the franchise, he was inducted into the New Orleans Saints Hall of Fame while also being named to the franchise's 25th, 40th, and 50th anniversary teams. Kupp's son, Craig Kupp, played for the Phoenix Cardinals. His grandsons, Cooper Kupp and Kettner Kupp, currently play for the Los Angeles Rams. His family is one of only 5 in NFL history to have 3 generations selected in the NFL draft. Saints OG, Jake Kupp. Hey guys, stay safe out there.